Hello, everybody. Welcome to a special edition of Winning on Wednesday called 10-4. And we have 10-4. 10-4 meets uh, every month. It's free for everybody. Anybody could jump in. And the purpose of 10-4 is to basically to learn. And we're actually here to also to network as well. So the first 10 minutes is going to be the presentation of our WOW member. Today, Mark Siegel is going to be doing his presentation, his 10-minute. And immediately after that, we'll go into the breakout room. So I'll start with Mark. How you doing, Mark?
I'm doing great, Juan. Very
Good.
excited to be here today. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And we're excited about this presentation that you're going to talk about. So the floor is yours, sir.
Thank you so much. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. Um, so a lot of people nowadays going through a lot of stress and a lot of worry, anxiety, and I call it hallucinating the wrong future. So my goal for today is to help you to start to envision the right future. So it starts with where you're at and where you want to be and what it's going to take for you to get there, to bridge that gap and create the best life. So, first off, I'd like to start by saying thank you for being here, right? So, the first rule in succeeding is to show up, right? So, you showed up, and or maybe you're watching the replay of this. Either way, I appreciate your time, and I'm going to do my best to stay as concise and on track as possible so that you get the most value out of this, and ideally take yourself from a state of whatever is going on for you: stress, anxiety, overwhelm, fear, not knowing what the future brings. And I'm going to show you a very simple but profound magical formula where you don't have to worry about the future, and there's a great way to predict your future. So again, I'm Mark Siegel. I am your personal mind trainer, and what qualifies me to be here is I am a certified trainer, board certified trainer in hypnosis, board certified trainer of neurolinguistic programming, and I've been doing success coaching and business coaching for 30 years. I've had 42 years plus experience in having a business of my own. I've had multiple businesses. Thank goodness none of them have ever gone out of business, but I evolved from one to another as needed. And this brings me here today to this great group called WOW. And Juan, thank you so much for inviting me here to speak. So, what we're going to do is we're going to start with assessing where you at, right? If you want to set a goal for yourself, you got to, when you program the GPS, you can't program your GPS to get to where you want unless you first know where you at, right? So when you know where you're at, then the next step is to figure out, well, where do you want to go? What direction do you want to head in? What's your destination of where you want to be? So we're going to look into starting with where you're at, where you want to be, and then the next step is how do you get there? So the way that you get there is you bridge the gap. And as your personal mind trainer, I'm going to guide you through a process to bridge that gap so it's not scary like jumping across a chasm. You get to walk across the bridge and get from where you are to where you want to be. So that's bridging that gap. And that's what we're going to do today so that you can predict your future in a way that is as easy as walking across a bridge rather than jumping across a chasm and having all that fear and anxiety over that. So, the other thing that I didn't put in this slide is what gets in the way, what stops or prevents you from getting there. And that's really where that fear or anxiety comes in is, a lot of people, they struggle with authenticity. Am I good enough to make it happen? Is it scary? Am I secure enough in what I'm doing that I could make this happen? And, we're going to help you to answer those questions. And so the main outcome is a combination of time and money. So I'm sure, and you maybe identify with this for yourself, but at least you've known someone who's got plenty of time, but no money, right? Like we were talking earlier about people that have plenty of time. They're traveling around the world doing all this fun stuff, but they don't have any money. But some way, somehow they manage to get by. And then there's people that are the flip of that, which they have lots of money, but they have no time. They're busy, busy, busy. I have a friend. I call him up. I go, how's it going? He goes, busy, right? I go, great, but how's it going? Busy, right? He's always busy, always doing lots of stuff. He's got plenty of money, but no time. I had a client years ago that, yeah, this guy, he had tons and tons of paperwork. His wife asked him to stay home and watch the kids. And, he's looking at his watch the whole time saying, when is she going to get home? When is she going to get home? And meanwhile, the whole reason he built his business, actually three businesses that were all succeeding at the same time, the whole reason he did that was so that he could have a wife and a family and be able to spend time with them and enjoy the luxuries of the quote unquote American dream. And here he was making lots of money, but he had no time. So the goal is to have time and money, which is what I call lifestyle, right? So that's the big picture goal, that today you have at least a vision of what your lifestyle could be and what it would look like. So in business and in life, it starts with a vision, right? So what is it that you want, and why do you want it, right? What's the passion behind it? So, we all have like a journey that we're on, but when you turn that journey into an adventure by going with other people, like here we are in this networking meeting, or I run a lot of mastermind groups where business people who are independent, they have their own business, but they all get together to kind of support each other, refer each other. But it could be purpose driven and mission driven, which is what becomes what I call a quest. So the first part, like we said, is to create a direction that you're heading towards. And then instead of like saying, okay, when I get money, I'll be happy. When I get that car, I'll be in a good position. When I own a home, then I'll feel safe and secure. No, what I suggest is to make the journey the destination. And when you make the journey the destination, then guess what? You're always there. It's not if, then, when, and you're not waiting for something to happen before you can actually be happy, right? I remember years ago, I heard this story about John Lennon. Pretty much everybody knows John Lennon. If you don't, look him up. But John Lennon was this cheeky high school kid. Actually, I think they already had the band together. But anyhow, so kind of a fairly well-known band called the Beatles. So he's in high school, 17 years old, and his teacher says, "What do you want to be when you grow up, John?" And he goes, "Happy." And the teacher looks at him kind of puzzled and says, "Clearly, you didn't understand the question, John." And John, being cheeky, said, "Teacher, clearly you don't understand life." So if you look at it now, everybody knows John Lennon. I couldn't tell you the name of the teacher, but I'm sure John Lennon was a lot happier when he was alive. So anyhow, so when you make the journey to destination, you're always there. And really what it's about is focus. So I like the acronym of focus, and that is follow one course until you're successful. And that's really what the focus is about, is to stay on the course, right? So life is choice. We can go right, we can go left, we can go up, we can go down, we can progress forward or stop for a minute. So the thing is, once you commit to your outcome, once you're on that focus, right? You're following your course, you're on your journey. Maybe it's an adventure because you invited other people in to share journeys, or maybe it's a full-on quest where other people want to join your mission, right? So when you make great choices, you live a great life, right? And the opposite is true as well. So if everybody wants to predict their future, but the way that you predict your future is to create your future by design, right? By choice. When you come from a position of being at choice, this is where you feel in control of your life. This is where, you're creating the circumstances, not a victim of the circumstances. People say, well, under the circumstances, right? And I had a business where I was building cabinets like for high-end office furniture. And we're doing this very prestigious lawyer's office. And we have all the furniture in place, right? But nothing's screwed together. Everything's all loose. And especially the desk, the top, we just threw it on top, but it was just sitting there. right? And we didn't even see that the lawyer came in. He was so busy that he couldn't even stop working. He was like putting papers anywhere that he could, while we were working on the other side of the room. And I was talking to my employee, and he's like, well, under the circumstances. And all of a sudden, this lawyer jumps up on top of the desk and he looks down on us. And he says, what are you doing under the circumstances? He goes, you think I got to where I am by being under the circumstances? I create the circumstances. And, my employee was in fear, and I was in fear because I thought the desk was going to fall apart, and this guy could probably sue me for everything my great grandchildren would make for the rest of their life. But everything worked out okay. So what can we control? We can control time, space, matter, and energy, and this is by choice. So here's the magic formula that I promised you. And I'm going to give you a special offer at the end of this if you want to take advantage of being guided through this. So the magic formula is three parts. The first part is I will accomplish X. What is it that you want? So this is your mission. This is your goal. This is the outcome of what you want. So what specifically do you want? So people use SMART goals. I like what I call smarter goals, which is a SMART goal, but then it adds the energy or the emotion, and then the resiliency to be able to adjust according to what you get, right? So here's the five key elements of what in NLP is called a well-formed outcome. So it's stated in positives, right? You ask a lot of people, what do you want? They say, well, I don't want to be fat, right? I don't want to be overweight, right? I don't want to fail in business. I don't want to lose money, right? Okay, but that's stated in getting away from the negative. So there's two motivations, and they're both useful. There's away from pain and there's towards pleasure. But when you're creating the outcome and when you're writing it out, especially, you want it stated in positive. So instead of I want to lose weight, I want to be my ideal weight of 155 pounds plus or minus a pound or two, and I want to do it through a healthy lifestyle. So as specific as you can get with it, the better. I want to have I want to grow a profitable business that I love what I do, and do what I love. The other thing is it's within your control to make it happen. So it's within your sphere of influence. It's not like, well, if all this, if the economy works out, then I can make it happen. If my partner or kids don't buy all this junk food, then I won't have to eat that stuff, right? The other thing is it's sensory based. You can have evidence. It's testable. You have ways of looking at it. So in growing a profitable business, ideally you have an accountant, and your accountant can say if you're profitable or not, right? It's very easy. Do the math, right? So it's sensory based, within your five senses, or the key ones are that there's something you can see, there's something that you can hear, and there's something you can feel that's tangible results. It's ecological. So what do I mean by this? It's good now, and it's good long term for yourself, for others, now and in the future. And the other thing is every action, every habit that we have, everything you do has a positive intention, right? So what you want to do when you change a new habit, right? When you set a goal for yourself, you're going to have to get out of your comfort zone and create some new habits. And when you do that, what you want to do is you want to make sure that the old habit had a positive intention. You want to take just the positive aspect of that and preserve that into the new habit. So, I've helped over 2,000 people stop smoking. And, you think, okay, that's a very negative habit, but there's a positive intention. Like a lot of people smoke because they say it relieves stress, or it gives them something to do, or it gives them a way to get outside and kind of do a reset. So there is a positive intention, even though it's a negative behavior. So when they create a new habit, instead of smoking, they could go outside and breathe some fresh air, right? It still preserves that benefit of getting away from their desk, standing up, getting some fresh air, getting outside and doing that reset. So, or they could maybe listen to some relaxing music, or call a friend, or do something that preserves that benefit. So that's one of the key things in changing a habit. You want the new habit to stick, and it's got to keep any positive benefits that the old habit had, even if it was a negative habit. So again, the magic formula is I will accomplish X by Z, right? So this is the date. of when you want to accomplish it by. And I want you to get specific on this. So it's what you want specifically, but then the date and even add in the time. So I will accomplish this by December 31st, 2025 at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you get a very specific date, the end of business day at the end of the week, right? So it's a specific date and time. And I call this the finish line. A lot of people call it a deadline, right? But what happens to a deadline? You hit the wall and smack. That's it. You're done. Right? No one wants to die, right? And when you think of like accomplishing it by the deadline, then that's a pretty fatal end. But a finish line, everybody wants to cross the finish line. And what happens when you cross the finish line? You keep going to the next finish line, right? So it creates that what I call movementum, right? So it's movement and momentum at the same time. So you've got that movementum going, right? So again, the magic formula, I will accomplish X, that's your goal, right? By Z, that's your finish line. And the third part is because of Y. So this is your reason. So why do you want to do this, right? Why do you want to accomplish this? And why is it important to you? So I will get 10 new clients by February 20th at 5 p.m. because business owners deserve to grow a profitable business that they love. So this is your mission. This is your purpose. This is your quest of what you're doing and why you're doing it in such a way that maybe other people want to join in. So what I encourage you to do, and if you want to take a screenshot of this formula, but it's pretty simple. I will accomplish X by Z because of Y. It can be a long sentence or maybe a couple of sentences, but you want to keep it short and sweet and you want to write it down. Okay. And here's what I suggest. Put it in your calendar on the finish line date. And I'm going to give you a key element so that you don't have to. A lot of people say, well, let me write it down. Let me keep it in front of me. Let me keep affirming it. And if you do it in the way that I just described, you've programmed your mind to pursue it. And your mind's going to pursue it. If you show it a way, it will come up with the way. So if you put it in your calendar on the finish line, I guarantee when that pops up on your calendar, you're going to have already accomplished it, and maybe sooner, and maybe a bunch more things that went along with that. So here's the crystal ball, right? Right. It's not about, the fun thing that I like to play with, and we were talking before about hallucinating the wrong future, right? So what you want to do is you want to hallucinate the right future. And I call that future life progression, right? Instead of past life regression. People say, you do hypnosis, do you do past life regression? And I'm like, no, I do future life progression, right? So you're creating the future that you want to live into. And Dr. Dennis Waitley had this great term called instant pre-play. So if anyone watches sports, you see the instant replay. But what if you could do instant pre-play and visualize the outcome that you want? And this is what I encourage you to do. So when you have your statement, I will accomplish X by Z because of Y, then just take a moment, and you can even do this now. Just take a quick moment and visualize what that's going to look like. Feel how it's going to feel to have already accomplished that, and just see what you're seeing, feel what you're feeling and hear what you're saying to yourself. That's probably even the most important part. And what directs this is that you talk to yourself in a way that you question, and the questions direct your choices. So it's not just, will I accomplish this, or why is this not working, right? Those are bad questions. Those are the wrong questions. And if you ask the wrong question, the answer doesn't matter. So you want to ask yourself the right questions that lead to the desired results that you want. So when you say, how am I doing so well in my progress? What can I do today to be excited and enthusiastic about accomplishing my goal? And what you want to do is you want to plan these incremental points along the way. And these are points of success, but you also want to plan for the incremental fail points so that you build in resiliency. And the resiliency aspect and the key part of that is really to be able to get yourself back on track, to reset, restart, reboot, Control, Alt, Delete, whatever you want to call it, and just get back on track, because you programmed your GPS for the desired outcome. And even if you get off track or you hit traffic or stuff happens right on the best planned route, you can recalculate and get yourself back on track to your outcome. So again, I thank you for this time with you today. I appreciate you being here. And if you'd like, I would love to help you to accomplish your outcome. And if you want to go through a process of really what I call installing this in your subconscious mind, I'd love to guide you through that. And the other thing is also, if you contact me, I can get you some information on how to assess where your business is at. I can get you information on how to assess where you're at and to create a vision that includes both your life and your business at the same time. So again, I'm Mark Siegel. I'm your personal mind trainer, and I would love to help you on this journey of growing a profitable business that you love. You can reach out to me, to the information on the screen. Contact Mark now will take you right to my calendar. Designing the Ultimate You is my website that's more around your personal breakthrough right now. Other websites will be coming, and there'll be links from that. You can email me at mark@designtheultimateyou.com, and I would love to take you through a discovery process to discover where you're at, where you want to be, and what it's going to take for you to get there and create your statement of X, Z, Y, and program that in so that by your finish line or sooner, you can accomplish your outcome.
Well, thank you so much, Mark. That was a great presentation, and wow, thank you so much, and wow, thank you so much. So